Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. We have just wrapped up the first quarterfinal match. That video went out just the other day, and man, the response has been fantastic. The video's already got some 7,300 views in just over 24 hours, which is even better than we did last year, which is fantastic. We're super excited about it. We want to come in here and check the audio levels and the cameras and make sure that everything's working and everybody can see what's happening. If you can see me and you can hear me, please let me know in the chats. That would be very, very helpful. Thank you very much. We have a ton to get through today, but we want to make sure everybody has a chance to come on board and join the conversation. We've already got a good number of people on so far. We're going to talk about all the new news from Renegade with the new games that are coming out in 2025, which is really exciting. We're going to talk about, of course, the quarterfinal match that Doug played. This and the video that came out this week. We've got a couple of moderators in the chat. We've got Jon Bosch and the lovely and talented Jamie Blevins. My lovely wife is here, but we're going to put a pause here. Thank you, Kurt, for letting us know that the sound is good. Sean, thank you for letting us know that that I am being heard. I feel heard, friends. I feel heard. Okay, so I'm going to put you on hold for a minute, and we're going to wait for a couple more folks to show up. We'll be back in just a moment.
Getting hot.
All right, here we go. Oh my gosh. All right, so we've got a bunch of people online already. If you are here to talk about the quarterfinal of the World Championship, let us know in the comments. If you are here to learn more about the big news from Renegade today and all of their announcements, let us know in the comments. Please take a second and hit that like button for us because it really helps the algorithm push this stuff out to lots of other folks. So we're really excited to have everybody on and to talk about all of the Access and Allies news of the week, which is just a ton of stuff. So we're really excited about it, but we also want to know where everybody's watching from. We wanted to, I don't normally try to talk about current events, but we have a lot of friends in the Los Angeles area that could really use whatever help or good vibes that you can offer. They are, man, if you've been following the news at all, that it is a tough situation out there in LA right now. So we wanted to take a moment and recognize what's happening for them. And I live in Memphis, Tennessee, and today we got, still getting about 5 or 6 inches of snow. And we would love to be able to package that up and send it to our friends in LA, but I'm not sure that's how that's going to work. But yeah, it's pretty rough out there. So we're hoping everybody's staying safe and warm where you need to be and cool where you need to be. But for everybody that isn't in the California area, particularly Midwest, Northeast, this is what I call Axis and Allies weather, because this is the time you want to stay inside for sure. But all right, so well, without any further ado, let's bring on our dear friend and fellow champion from 2023, Mr. Doug Thorpe. Say hi, Doug, everybody.
Hey, Gary.
The clock is
There it is. I was waiting for it.
There it is. Fantastic. That's awesome.
It's good to be here,
man. We got a lot to get through today. I wanted to. It's funny because you'll notice that I'm at work, that I'm at my normal studio, which is not in my house. I live probably 10 or 15 miles from here. The rest of Memphis is shut down. Like the rest of Memphis it's a ghost town. I think I'm the only one that came to work today. So, we're just too excited to stay home today. So we've got a whole bunch going on. So, Doug, what do you think? What's your favorite comment so far?
Well, it was a good game. It was a game of missed opportunities, as we already talked about. We'll talk about more tonight. My favorite comment.
So hold up. So we are going to have spoilers in this live stream. So if you have not watched the quarterfinal match, please go do that now and then come back and join us. So we're gonna avoid spoilers for the first couple of minutes of this because we want to talk about the Renegade news, and then we'll come back and talk about the actual match and how it went and how it turned out. So we're going to avoid spoilers for now. But yes, there were a number of missed opportunities in this match on both sides, I think. So we're going to get to that in just a couple of minutes. But I burst out laughing. Go ahead.
My favorite comment on the video was the guy who said he named his Dungeons and Dragons gnomish scout after Gary.
Come on. And he wanted to know in that comment what he should name, what type of character he should name Doug Thorpe. Yeah. And I'm going to leave this to our audience here. If Doug were a D&D character, what kind would he be? I think that's. I think I'm deeply. First, let me say I'm deeply honored to be enshrined in any D&D campaign. That's very nice. I really appreciate that. So anyway, yes.
A little, I was thinking, should I be pretentious and say like a human wizard with a 20 intelligence and a 20 charisma or something, or something?
I was thinking. Yes, I was thinking something with a long range with some kind of bombard capability. High elf or something. I don't know. Should be fun. All right, awesome. Well, we've got a couple of folks here from Manassas, Virginia, where it is also snowing. Our friends in Minnesota seem to have less snow than we have here in Memphis. I'm not sure how that happened. So I'm sure that won't stay that way for long. I've been to Minnesota. I know what it's like. Yes, Paul knows. So Paul knows that I actually grew up in Wisconsin, and so the snow doesn't really bother me. You just go slow and you keep away from everybody else, and usually goes okay. And in Memphis, like nobody drives in the snow, so there's really nobody to run into. So it works out pretty well. But yes, I did grow up in Wisconsin, got my driver's license in December, and then immediately started driving around in Chicago and Milwaukee. So yeah, it doesn't bother me very much. Carl's here. Good to see you, Carl. Thanks for coming in. Again, Jon Bosch is in. Yep, Jon Bosch is in there helping out, and we appreciate that. Albany, New York, you are. I think you're in the path of some snow, and this may be the only time I've ever heard of there being no snow in Albany. You guys get the lake effect snow off the lake, don't you? Like, you guys you measure snow by the feet up there. You, Syracuse. Yeah, yeah, maybe Rochester. Anyway, South Dakota's here. Fantastic. All right, well, we've got a pretty good crowd on so far, and Doug, you want to jump into the Renegade news?
Yeah, let's do it.
We got some exclusive stuff here that we want to share with everybody that I think is pretty cool. So first, a little background. So today at noon, Renegade did released a video live stream thing where they released a bunch of new information, which was fantastic. And unfortunately, a couple of things that were in that weren't exactly right. And I noticed it, and I was about to email the marketing department over there to see if I could get some of the corrected stuff, because Matt Hyra was in the comments saying, hey, that wasn't exactly right. And so I was literally emailing the marketing manager over there when Matt emailed me the corrected images from that video. So which I thought was very funny. So he was knew we were going to be doing this tonight and wanted to make sure that we had the correct information. So
hey, he's got to get it there if he wants it to get out, right?
You tell him, Doug. That's right. I don't know about Gnomish Scout, maybe Town Crier. I don't know, something.
There you go.
I don't know. Anyway, all right. So, before I forget, we're going to dive into this thing, and periodically, some of the moderators are going to drop basically our affiliate link, the Board Game Nation affiliate link for Renegade Game Studios. If you are looking to buy any of these games, please use that link. It really does help support the channel. We get a small percentage of every one of those purchases, and every one of them helps, right? So if you like content like we're making and you want us to be able to continue to make that, then that is one way that you can help do that. So that's going to be dropping in the comments as we go along here periodically. So it will be there for a while. All right. So without any further ado, let's jump in here. So I'm going to be talking for the next couple of minutes here as we go through this, and then I'll come back and we'll take some questions and talk about this craziness that we've come up with here. So let me go to sharing the screen.
Got too many tabs open. I can see it.
I got a million things happening all at the same time. It's amazing. All right, here we go. We shared the screen. Gotta blow this up. All right, there we go. All right, so we've got the 2025 releases from Renegade Game Studios for Axis and Allies. They've got Battle of the Bulge, a brand new game called Battle for the Deep, and another brand new game called Stalingrad. If you voted in the poll that they did last year before, for which game everybody wanted to use, then that. Okay, this doesn't seem to be looking just right here. I'm gonna back up this a little bit.
Big. I'm looking at it. Yeah.
It seems to be bigger than the screen available.
Yeah.
All right, how's that? Get rid of that.
That's still off to the side. I can see the 2 and part of the 0. I assume it's like 2025.
Here we go.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't know why that's doing that, but it didn't do this in rehearsal. Be really clear.
That looks good.
All right, there we go. We're going to rock with it that way. I have no idea why it's doing that, but that's what it's doing. All right, so sorry for the delay. We are going to work that out at another time. Okay, so if you voted in the poll, the North Africa was the winner, right? We all know that. And North Africa came out this year, which was, or in 2024 rather, and it worked pretty well. I think everybody was pretty happy with that game. Complicated game for sure, but certainly a lot of fun and some really interesting mechanics that they introduced. But now we have Stalingrad was number 2 in that poll, and so they've decided to move right down the list, and they've given us Stalingrad. But we're going to double back to that one. Let's start with Battle of the Bulge. Now this is tricky, and I promise you I'm going to get this wrong a half a dozen times. It's Battle for the Deep and Battle of the Bulge. So I'm sure that's going to trip up a fair number of us, and I'm going to start with me. So Battle of the Bulge, I've just started abbreviating to Bob. So hopefully that'll help, but we'll see. So Bob, Battle of the Bulge. My understanding at this point is that this is a straight reprint of the original 2006 game, and nothing's really changed. Maybe a couple of minor. I mean, obviously they got to change the badging on the, on the box top and on the rule book and stuff like that. But my understanding is that this is a straight reprint of the game. So if you've already got a copy of this game, I wouldn't feel obliged to run out and buy another one. But if you don't have a copy of this game, like me, and I've never actually played this game because I've only actually seen this game physically a couple of times. It looks pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to getting a chance to play it. I think one of the things that's cool is that part of the game are these little sliders that like slide under the table, and you pull them out to do different things. I don't know all of the particular details, but I think they're rolling with D12s, and it should be pretty cool. So I think it should be. I think that should be a fun game. I'm looking forward to playing that. So if you have played Battle of the Bulge, let us know in the comments, and if this is a game that you're excited to have back in circulation. I just want more people to play it, right? I mean, everyone that I've talked to about it, they love it, but I've just never had the opportunity to sit down and play with anybody. So we will see how that turns out. Next up, Battle for the Deep. This is one of those games that is the second edition of the powered by Axis and Allies mechanics. So it's kind of similar in the vein to the G.I. Joe Battle for the Arctic Circle game, but this one actually is quite a bit different. So this one's got a fantasy theme, and we're moving away from the World War II scenario entirely, but this one is a very, very different game. I'm excited about. I like fantasy themed games, and I think this is going to be pretty cool. Let's look at the map here for a second. So my understanding at this point is that the setup is not set, and neither are the sides. So at the beginning of every game, it's a 4-player game, or up to 4-player game. At the beginning of every game, you will, in some form or fashion, decide who's going to be partnered up and who they'll, and then who they'll be playing against, and then which power they'll be playing, and then you do a unique style drafting kind of placement. So the setup is never the same, which is pretty cool. And we talk about replayability, right? So I think this is going to be a really interesting game, and it seems really light. So I mean, they're talking about a 90-minute play time for 2 to 4 jellyfish or permatoads or something like that. But armored toads, I guess. I don't know. But maybe that's what I should be, an armored toad. That'd be fun. So anyway, so Battle for the Deep is, it looks like it's going to be a pretty fun game. I'm looking forward to that. But everybody's talking about Stalingrad, buddy. Holy cow. This is the new official logo for Stalingrad. Looks pretty familiar to the branding that we have seen before. There's the box top. I think this is pretty cool. One of the pieces that's new to this game is this rocket launcher, which is, I think, going to be really pretty interesting. Say what you want about the Axis and Allies franchise, man, they do great box art, right? Like just of all of the games that we've seen from them, there are some that I like more than others, but I don't think I've ever seen a bad box top from in an Axis and Allies game. I just think they just did such a really nice job with this. All right, so big news about the about Stalingrad is that it has 2 separate game boards. Okay, and to go with the 2 different scenarios, I probably should have put this in a different order, but they've got 2 different scenarios. One is the full-length 13-round scenario, and the other one is just the 7-round scenario. So you start with the big map, which is the Don's map, which is what we're looking at here, and this is the full look at that map. Okay, so you start with this, and then when you get to round 7 or 8, I don't know, I haven't had a chance to go through the rules yet, but at some point you will switch from this to the city map, and that takes you to this blow up, right? So now this is a close-up of the Don map. Okay, so this is not the city map. This is, but I wanted you guys to have an idea of how detailed this this maps are. So these red lines here with the hash marks on them, those are railroad tracks, and they have movement things that go into the different, you know, how the units move around the map. A lot of the oh, well, we've got a special guest that just jumped into the comments. Matt Hyris here. Everybody say hi, Matt. And okay, Matt, he's correcting me here. Both maps are in play in both scenarios. Okay, so I'm still haven't had a chance to go through the rule book, so I'm just basing on what I've seen here and what I've learned so far. So Matt, feel free to stay in there and correct me when I say the next wrong thing, because I'm sure that'll be coming along shortly. Okay, so this is a close-up of the Don map, and you can see the little cutout there for Stalingrad, and this is that map. So this is the city map for Stalingrad, and you can see that they've got a lot of the different train station and the Red October worker settlement and the bread factory. And let's take a closer look at that. So we've got the different factories. We've got ambush sites. I've heard that snipers are going to be involved in this game. So I think there's going to be some pretty cool stuff here. There's ferries apparently that cross the Volga River. And I think this is going to be really cool. I'll tell you that I think it looks cool. I think the map actually looks really, really detailed. And this is a lot more detailed than we are accustomed to seeing in a lot of the Axis and Allies maps. So I think this is pretty cool. So this is the full map for the city map, and you would play that in conjunction with the Don map. We'll as we learn more about this and how this all works, of course, we'll come back. And I think we may be making the how to play video for this game. We're still talking to our friends at Renegade about that. So the game also comes with 2 new units, the German Stug, a 3 assault gun, and then the Soviet Kadyuska. Did I say that right? Kadyuska rocket launcher. I'm sure my Russian is terrible, friends. I should really start working on some of my Russian here, but so 2 new pieces for that, and this is the corrected image that Matt sent me earlier today for the Stug 3. I think this looks like a pretty cool mini. I'm excited to see how it works. The other thing, and I forgot to mention this earlier, the other thing that's really kind of cool about this is that this is a 2-player game. So we've seen that with Guadalcanal, but this is the first one of these that I've seen for a while now. Again, as we said before, it contains 2 scenarios, Race to Stalingrad and then Operation Uranus. It's got the different cards, which I guess are part of the setup to help manage the play. So there's order cards. Now, these basically are order cards control the flow of the game and make learning to play easier. I think they're trying to put me out of work here, but that's okay. I'm always happy to have games easier to learn. So this looks like it'll help with the various phases of play. So here's the back of the box. Let's see what we can figure out from this. At the bottom here, we've got 14 and up, 2 players, and then plays in 3 to 5 hours. I saw a little clarification earlier today, and Dan actually mentioned it in his with him and Anais today in their video on Renegade's YouTube channel. But it looks like the full scenario plays in 5 hours, and the city scenario or the Operation Uranus plays in about 3 hours. So if you wanted the shorter game is about 3 hours. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I think this is going to be pretty cool. We've got 151 pieces, 65 plastic chips, license from Hasbro and the general consortium over there, but Renegade is definitely taking the lead over here. And man, all right, so pretty cool stuff. And let's see. So if you are planning to pre-order any of these things, I hope that you will. And if you do, please use the link that is in the description or in the chat. It definitely does help help us out here. We get, as I said, we get a small commission for everything that you purchase when you use that link. So we certainly appreciate that. So now, what questions do you have about how all of this works? And we'll see what we can answer. I don't want to put Matt on the spot, but we'll see what answers we can get for you before we with what we know now. So we'll bring us back on the screen here and see what we can figure out. All right, so little Stuka Joe for the assist. Very good. I like it. So we got the rocket launcher in there. Oh man, yeah, Matt, I agree with you 100%. It would be very nice to be able to get more of these games available online. That's just not a thing that, first, let me say, it's not a thing Renegade has any control over. That's an entirely different license. That's not a thing that they really can do anything with. They're a board game company, not a digital company. So it's a matter of what's available and what can be done. So, but yeah, if you know somebody, that'd be fantastic. Matt, are you a video game designer? That'd be amazing. So, all right.
So here's my question about the back of the box.
There we
If
go.
you look in the top left corner, it looks like there's a yellow infantry unit in a German territory. You see the top left of the
I do.
the map.
I do.
What's
Yes.
what's that guy about?
That is an excellent question. I have no idea.
Right.
I have no idea. I don't know who that is or what that guy's doing there. I'm sure it will be made clear at some point in the future. He's talking about this. If you can't see it, there's a yellow guy on a chip here. I'm not sure what he's about, but we'll have to find out. But
Maybe they're just messing with us.
maybe it's like a hidden typo. Not sure. Yeah, maybe an Italian or Roman. We'll see. Yeah, Romanian rather. So yeah, Robert, he's got so maybe it's a sniper. So there are snipers in this game, but my understanding is that they're only in the city, and so we'll see what that looks like. But yeah, that's a good thought. But I don't think this one is a sniper, but I think that they are definitely in the city. I think that's what those ambush sites are. But yeah, Romanian's probably a pretty good guess. What did you vote for in the reprint vote? That's a good question. What did I vote for? That feels like it was 200 years ago. I'm not really sure. I like a little espionage in my games, so I think I voted for Market Garden, but because I think that would be fun. I like those kinds of. I like games with some hidden information. Don't get me wrong, I love a good, slug them out, everything, everybody knows everything and all the options are available, but sometimes a hidden information game is fun too. But that's a good question. What did you vote for? Doug, what did you vote for? Do you remember?
I don't. I'm pretty sure I voted for Stalingrad. I don't remember like what all the options were off the top of my head or what, but
yeah. Okay. So Matt has given us some. So first, let me say that Matt is they're limited on what they can say because the rules haven't been published yet. So Matt is trying to help us here with the information that is currently available, which I appreciate. And Matt, don't feel like you got to do anything else. As mentioned in the text at the top of the box, plus some minor access countries. So then Romania is probably a pretty good guess. Maybe Italy. So yeah, I think that's probably the um, I think that's a good eye, by the way. I didn't even notice that when I was looking at this before. That's a good
Yeah, I
eye.
didn't read all that text, but yeah, I see it now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Well,
Cool.
congratulations to Matt. He is listed down here as the game designed by Matt Hyra, additional design by Larry Harris. So I think Larry had some input here, but this is seems like it was Matt's baby. So congratulations on that. That is this is a big one. I know you guys have been working on this one for a long time, so we're excited to learn more about this and to get it on the table and learn how to play it. So very, very cool. All right. So, any other thoughts, questions, comments about Stalingrad or Battle for the Deep or any or all of the above? Let us know. Let us know. I got to figure out how to get that keynote thing working in there. Um, oh, yeah, release dates. Yes. So thank you, John. So Stalingrad releases in August. The target for them is to be able to pick this up at Gen Con, which is July 31st through August 3rd, 2025. Thank you, John. That is a sign of a solid moderator right there, my friends. We're going to double your pay, John. That's what. But yes, and other. I actually have more information about the other pieces. Let me grab that. Yes. I wonder if this will work. Hey, that worked. So the pre-order guide that we got from Renegade. If you want to order, a couple of other accessories that they put out there. The 1914 Deluxe map is now available for pre-order, which is pretty cool. It's a giant square. I didn't get the exact measurements on it, but it's pretty good size. So make sure that you're looking for that. And Battle of the Bulge is expected to be available in May. Battle for the Deep arriving in February. Wow, I didn't realize that was that close to publish. So that's good. We're excited about that. That should be really good. Um, so yeah, and then Stalingrad, as we said, should be available at Gen Con. And if you're not coming to Gen Con, that's okay. Then they'll be shipped in either August or latest probably early September. So that is the published schedule. And again, if you are fan of the channel and you want to support the channel, we appreciate that, and make sure that you're using that link in the description to visit our friends at Renegade to pick up your copy of any of these or any other of the games that you want to pick up over there. So very nice. And let's go back to bring us up here. And we got ourselves our first super chat of the day. Cray T says that I'm planning to go to Gen Con again next year and want to try my hand at Axis and Allies. Which of the tournaments would you recommend for first timers? That's a good question, Cray. That is a very good question. A lot of that's going to depend on, well, Doug, what do you think? I've been talking for a long time. Doug, what do you think?
Yeah, maybe I'm going to finish your thought. A lot of that depends on which versions of the game I mean, I would definitely go in with a version I do think 42 second edition is probably the right one. Like, I don't think there's a you know a tournament that is like 1940, 1914. I don't think there's tournaments for those. So I think 42 second is probably the right one to get into, especially if you know that version. But if there's a version that other than that, but Gen Con, it can be tough to play at. It's a lot, and so I think picking something that is on the simpler end of the spectrum, and something that you're familiar with is key.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you got to go with what you're comfortable with, right? And if all you've ever played is the Anniversary Edition, then jump in the World Championship. Come on,
Yeah.
cool. If you haven't played that game, then maybe don't. Maybe stay out of that one. One thing that I did notice at the 2024 event is that because Anniversary became the World Championship event, a lot of the more experienced players jumped out of the global tournament, jumped out of the 42 second edition so that they could play for that World Championship title. So that's a tough field if you are if you're not accustomed to that level of play. So Craig, really, it comes down to whatever you're comfortable with. Now, also, let me say, everybody's super nice, right? Like, so even there are people that are playing in the World Championship that they never played in a tournament before. Um, I'm watching video replays and people are asking rules questions. You're playing in the World Championship. You're still asking rules questions. I think that's great, and they're doing all right. So I think that's probably the answer to that is to play what you're comfortable with. Somebody asked a question a minute ago that I wanted to double back about because there's a bit of a side conversation here. What is Battle for the Deep about? It's an area, I'm not sure entirely what the storyline is that goes with the game yet, but it's an area control game, and you're trying to control different areas. that's all I have for that at the moment. But Matt came back and reminded us that Battle for the Deep plays 1 and 3 are teammates, 2 and 4 are teammates. Okay, but the different powers have different like abilities or something like that. I still remember there being something different. Like if you're player 1, are you always the sharks, or are you the Cthulhu guys? I can't remember. But yeah, it sounds like there's some. Appreciate the clarification, Matt. A lot of people excited about that 1914 deluxe map, and John went and got the measurements for us. It's 3.25 by about 3.25, so just off square, which is a little strange. But it's a beautiful map. And the other thing that I really really liked about it is, let me see if I can go back to. No, I won't do it. But the thing that was kind of weird about the original 1914 map was the IPC tracker in the middle of Africa was cumbersome, and it was not particularly well conceived, and they fixed it. Basically, they put an IPC tracker that runs around the outside of the map, like we see at the top of the anniversary map, right? So that one runs around the side of the map. So we're pretty excited about that. So that should be pretty cool. So yes, thanks, John. Appreciate you getting that for us. Yes. So yeah. So one thing that I brought some folks with me to Gen Con last year, and one of the that had never been, and one of the things that struck a couple of them was the size of the crowd. If you are not accustomed to being in crowded places, Gen Con is going to be a little bit overwhelming. I think they had just over 70,000 people there last year. They've got some hotels that are about to be finished in downtown Indy. So the estimate is 75 to 80,000 for next year, if you can believe it. So it's going to be big. And at least half of those are playing in the Axis and Allies tournaments.
At least, yeah.
No, they're not. But
That's
yeah.
not true.
That's not true. But I will say that the size of the tournaments from 23 to 24 for Axis and Allies did double from the previous year. So a lot of that's got to do with, obviously Renegade, making a bunch of noise about it. And I think a lot of people saw our videos from last year and decided to come and give it a try. At least that was a lot of the feedback that we got from folks when we were there. So very, very cool. All right. So yes. Oh yeah. So this is a good time to do a shout out for this game. If you haven't seen it yet, and I wish I had brought the box art. Jamie, you're very smart. I wish I had the box art for this. There is a new version of Diplomacy coming out called Era of Empire, which is set in basically the Indian Ocean and the Pacific versus the Europe model. And it's a lot of the same European powers, like doing the colonial pushing around and so forth. But that's going to be very, very cool. Our friend Tom Haver was I think he had a big role in the creation of that game, and he's going to be play testing it and promoting it at all of his events this year. And man, if you're interested in Diplomacy, make sure that you check that out because I'm really, really excited about it. I've seen the map for it. I've seen the box art for it, and it looks fantastic. So I'm really, really excited about that.
That's good. I feel like as good as Diplomacy is, a new version of it would is
Yes,
really good for that game.
yes, yes,
It's a cool system.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, yes. Somebody asked how big the deluxe global map is. I believe it's 7 feet long, which is I just call it a yoga mat. Like I
Yeah,
just
you
call
can
it the Access.
lay down on it and take a nap.
Yeah, I call it the Access Knowledge Yoga Mat. It absolutely works out very well. All right, so oh yes, and not a Renegade product, which is totally fine. Is another game from Larry Harris, which should be coming out. The Kickstarter ran last year, and they should be fulfilling that in the next couple of months. Is a game called Imperial Borders, and we did a video for that, like a kind of an overview of that October during the Kickstarter last year, and they got funded. I think I think they got funded in the first 2 days, and then ended up I think they got $500,000 over what they had originally asked for, which is just incredible. So, based on what I've seen of that game, and I've seen the prototype and the rules and everything else, that looks like it's going to be really really exciting. Now the map is a 4 foot square, so you need to be able to get the right kind of table to play it, or strengthen the knees and play it on the floor. But it should be a lot of fun. So very very cool. And all right. Yes. Diplomacy. Ending friendships since yes. I don't know. I think diplomacy gets a bad rap for this. You got to go into it setting expectations correctly. That's what I've every time I've done it, that's what I've done.
I think part of the problem is people think it's a board game, and it's kind of a board game, but it's a social deduction game. So when you're playing, you know, something like Avalon or Resistance or Werewolf or whatever, like the point is you're trying to trick people part of the time, and it's a little different because in diplomacy you make moves based on what this person's saying. But yeah, it's like a social deduction game to some degree. I mean, it's
Totally. Yeah, no, that's a really good way to think about that. I hadn't really considered it that way. But the when we were at Gen Con this year, one of the things that we did do is we recorded the U.S. National Championships for diplomacy, and they played on a giant map. Like I think it's 12 by 20 feet wide and long. Um, we set up a bunch of cameras around, and we mic'd all the players individually because, to Doug's point, like it's a board game sort of, but like the action that goes on is not so much about the what goes on the board. It's all in these side conversations. So we set it up so that we could record those side conversations, and we came like the video that we captured for that. It's like I think it was like 600 or 700 gigs of video. So it's going to be quite the editing task, but I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It was a really really good game actually, which is nice too. So yeah, so if you like diplomacy, we've got coverage for that coming up in hopefully in February. Um, all right, cool. So oh, here's a good question. Robert, do you play partners in World Championships, or is it random players assigned to each faction? Okay, so you'd bring partners, or you can select a partner when you get there, or whatever. You pick your team, right? And then in order to see who's going to play which side, players will bid for a side. So you roll to determine who's going to start the bidding, and then from there you bid back and forth until someone accepts a bid, and then they can place units on the board up to the total number of IPCs um, that they accepted in the bid. They can place them on the map in a place that they already have units. So in Doug's game, the bid ended up being +4 to the Axis. So the Axis accepted the guys who played the Axis, Dave and Keith. They accepted the bid of Axis Plus 4, and they opted to place an artillery unit, which is worth 4 IPCs, in French Indochina Thailand, which gave them the ability to attack Yunnan and the American fighter that's in China. So that's basically how that works. Now, if you are at a tournament and you have come to play solo, um, they want to get as many people in to play as possible. So sometimes the tournament directors there will partner people up that maybe didn't know each other. But for the most part, people come with the 2 people that they want to play with.
Yeah, because it's something like Gen Con, they're not managing the tickets. So if there's, I don't know what the math is on it, but if there's, 64 tickets, which would make 32 teams of two, if 63 tickets got sold because you bought one, there's one more out there, and then I buy one, you and I might get paired up because they're just not in charge of those ticket sales. So there are situations like the first time I went to a tournament at Gen Con for Axis and Allies, I didn't know what Gen Con was. I was just signed up for an Axis and Allies tournament, and I got paired with a guy, and we were partners, played together for a couple of years, so you will get partnered with somebody because they will sell out.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So this is probably a good question to answer here. Um, um, how do you join? We get this question a lot in the comments, and I want to try to talk about this. How do you join the Gen Con tournament? Do you have to bring a friend to play? So we just talked about that. So the process for participating in one of these tournaments is you first you could, and Jon Bosch just said it, you can play alone, or you can pick up a player, but they may put you together with somebody else. But the way to sign up for this is, first thing you got to do is you got to buy a badge for Gen Con. Um, you'll buy that, I think, January, February, whenever they go on sale, and maybe March. I'm not sure, but then about a month after the badges go on sale, they will open the ticket sales for individual events inside of Gen Con. And this is when you can jump in and buy your tickets for all of the various events. And so if you wanted to, go to this particular expo or participate in that event or early, there's a billion things going on at Gen Con at any given time. And some of them are the Axis and Allies tournaments. So if you want to play in the World Championship, or you want to play in the Classic Edition tournament, or whatever it is that you're interested in, you can go to the ticket page on Gen Con once that opens up, and then buy the tickets that you are trying to, the events that you're trying to go to. And if you want to play in the Axis and Allies events, particularly the 42-2 event, the World Championship, the Global Tournament, those things sell out very, very quickly. I'm pretty sure that the 2024 tournament sold out. The World Championship sold out within the first probably day. And then they added a whole nother bracket to it because it's a single elimination tournament. They added a whole nother bracket to it to basically double the available size, and then that sold out pretty quickly. So it's a very popular event. So if you're interested in going, get your ticket for your January badge. Thank you. I've got a couple folks in the comments. Charles, thank you, and John. January badge sales for open on January 29th, but hotel reservations don't open until February. And then the events go on sale, I think April or May. So if you're here, first let me, so I hope that helps. And I feel like I should make an entirely separate video that's just explaining what I just said. As far as other events, this is something that we're working on. First, let me say, if you are out there and you know about or have or run an Axis and Allies event, please let us know. Drop it in the comments here. We've got a Discord server that we are about to open to the public in the next probably next week, and our goal is to have every Axis and Allies event around the world that has more than 10 people in it listed on there for people to be able to find. That is absolutely our goal, and we want people to be able to connect with each other and other events and players around the world. So I think it should be pretty cool. Oh yeah, Jamie's Jamie's very smart. You might want to subscribe to the Gen Con newsletter. Go to their website, gencon.com/indie, and you can sign up and get all of the dates and the so forths and the whatnots and the wherefores. We just got another super chat from Cray. Thank you very much, Cray. Yes, the map at the Diplo finals was crazy, and you just missed out. You got a second place France, but you did get to talk to Doug while you were there, while the finals were just getting kicked off. So, so pretty cool. So yeah. So again, thank you very much for the support, and I'm glad you got a chance to see that craziness at in the diplomacy area. Like, man, Tom Haver, like, man, that dude knows how to run a diplomacy tournament. It was really well. It was really well put together. The players had a really good time, and he has the best trophies. Like his trophies and stuff are just amazing. They really are pretty spectacular. All right. So as of this moment, if you want to join the Discord server, at the moment it's members only because we're kind of getting it all sorted out and kind of getting it dressed up for everybody to be able to. And we want to make sure all the buttons work. I'm not quite the Discord ninja that I'd like to be. So we're still kind of, that's a members only space right now. So if you are interested in joining and helping on that side and supporting the channel, of course, please take a moment and click the join button that's at the bottom of the screen and become a member. Right now, I think we're at 36 or 37 members. When we get to 40 members, we'll be giving away that guy right there, which is the classic rule book from...
Not the coaster, the rule book, not the coaster.
Not the coaster, the actual rule book, yeah. That's hard to do backwards. This is the classic 1984 rule book, and it's actually signed by Mr. Larry Harris, and that will be going out as a prize. Once we hit our 40th member, we'll add that to one of our live stream and give it away for that one. And then we also have, for the fans of 1914 out there, we've got a 1914 map that's also signed by Larry that we're saving for another day. And then we got a series of global maps that we'd love to give away. So we've got a lot of very cool stuff. So we'll have the link available, the Discord link available to the public in the next, probably middle of next week is the goal. But if you'd like to join it now, then you can click that join button and become a member of Board Game Nation. And from there, you'll be able to jump into that Discord. So awesome. Doug, what do you think?
I think it's time to talk about how I could have won that game.
All right, so spoiler alert.
So we're past that point, right?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. All right, so now we're going to dive into the game. If you are here, please go ahead and hit that like button for us real quick, and that will let everybody know that this is a thing that they should come and look at. And so now we're going to try this again. We're going to go back to our... Go ahead.
So yeah, I just got to say, like, it's hindsight's 2020. It's easy to see these things, and again, I'm assuming spoilers here. Assuming you guys watched the video or know what happened. Once we did the video on this, I was thinking about it, and if I remember correctly, we did the video, and it was like late when we finished it, and then I like got in bed and I started messaging you. I was like, dude, now that I'm doing the math, I should not have attacked France. Like, I just did all the wrong things with my transports in the Atlantic. Like, I could have. Anyway, we were going through all these different situations. Well, if we took here and here and stuff, and I know you've laid a lot of that out visually, which will be better. But it's yeah.
Well, Kurt, it was for a good cause. It was for a good cause, Kurt.
Yeah. I mean, I actually had a fantastic partner. It's just he was in the global final at the same time. Charles was my partner.
And Charles is here, by the way.
Maybe not a better partner, maybe one who was just there.
Right.
But yeah,
it's hard to play in two games at the same time, man. It really is.
Yeah.
And Charles was playing in the global final. And this was the quarterfinal of the World Championship. So there was still a lot of game to play in the anniversary edition in the World Championship. And this was the end of the global tournament. So I can see why Charles was paying a lot of attention over there. But
yeah, I was supposed to get us through this game so that he could fully participate in the next couple of games. So And I knew that going into it. I knew there was a chance that Charles would be in the final while this game was going on. So
Julian, thank you very much for the super chat. Yes, it is great to hear that that the ANA tournaments sell out very, very quickly. Which is one of the reasons why we want to have more of them. So we're excited about that. So thank you very much for the support there. We appreciate that. Carl. Okay, so this is Carl. Carl was Charles's partner in the global tournament. So thanks for that, Carl. Appreciate that. Thank you, Duh. Thank you. All right, so okay, so let's take a look. So we got a lot of comments talking about how Doug could have won this game. Now, as Doug said a moment ago, hindsight 2020, and this particular path to victory would be very difficult to see sitting table side. Okay, because it's not like there's like a running clock of how, like, what the IPC generation is and all that stuff. So let's look at this real quick. Let me try this again and see if I can do this without it absolutely freaking out.
Showing us the top left corner.
Yes, let's see here. Let's see. Share. All right, let me bring this over here, and now I will rid of that. Okay, that's pretty good. Yep, that'll work. Okay, so a couple of things here. There's my mouse.
I don't think you're on the top.
Yeah, you can see that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's good now.
Okay, so we did this last week too for the 42-second edition game, or 2 weeks ago. How the Allies could have won that, how we could have won that game. So I hope this just doesn't become a trend. I don't want to do this every week, but it just happened that there was a path for the Allies to have won here. So as we showed in the video, this is how it actually ended. Okay, so they ended it with 9-9 victory city count, because the Germans snuck in with the backstab move at the end there and took Stalingrad, which was a brilliant move. Dave, Keith, all the credit. That was a great move. But that made it 10-9, and so for Doug to win, he felt like he needed 2 victory cities to win. But remember, the tiebreak is IPC production, and this was, I think, what I think happened is that the Stalingrad move happened, and that's a jarring thing when you don't see an attack coming and it feels like you lost the game. And so it felt like there was a little bit of quicksand there, where you kind of like, like you didn't buy anything for the UK, so that became a problem. But anyway, so this is how it actually ended. And so how could it have been different? Now, this seems like a lot. 102 to 86, that seems like a lot. But if you just take Borneo, that's an 8-point swing. So now all of a sudden it's 98 to 90.
Gary, my picture is over the Allied total, so I don't think anybody can see that. I don't know if you can move me up or whatever. I know you're sharing the numbers, but
yeah, yes. You're very right. Let's just get us off the screen. There we go. Oh, but now we got all crazy again. There we go. I promise this is not how this went in rehearsal. All right, how's that? Yeah? You're muted. That's interesting. Okay. Well, that's a new one. I don't know if anybody can hear me. Can anyone, if you can hear me, please let me know in the comments. We're having a little bit of a tech problem here. There we go. Okay, there we go. Okay. For some reason that muted Doug, and I'm not really sure why. And then I thought it muted me. I apologize. Okay, so How could Doug have won this game? Let's get into it. Let's see. All right. So here we are. So we have the tiebreaker. But if he just takes Borneo, that's an 8-point swing, right? So you're 98 to 90 all of a sudden, just with that one difference. So, so I think that's a big deal. So if we look at the map here, if we rewind here to immediately after immediately after the Germans took Stalingrad, that takes us to UK5. Okay, so UK5, I think they had 36 IPCs to start the turn. He opted not to buy anything. What I would have done here, or what the path to victory here, whether I would have done this in reality or not, I have no idea. I seriously doubt that I would have been able to see this at the table while it was happening. That seems super unlikely. But this is a particular path to victory. The Italians are going to go next. They are going to have another turn. So you do have to be aware of what's going to happen to India. What they have that can attack India on their turn are 2 infantry, a tank, and an artillery. That's not a lot, but it also means that you can't just leave India undefended. So use the 36 and buy, you buy 3 fighters there. Just because there's, nothing else to do there. It's the best defensive purchase that you can make. So from there, you've got a pretty good shot. Presumably, you'll be able to defend India from there. Next, you've got 2 transports that have been really doing nothing the whole game, sitting in Sea Zone 2. You send them over. They take Norway. They take Finland. That's +5 for the Allies. That's -5 for the Axis. You also have a combat option to try to take Yunnan and French Indochina, Thailand. You've got a couple of fighters that can get into those battles. You've got the tank that can get there. You've got 2 infantry that are in Burma. And French Indochina and Yunnan only have 1 guy in them each. So you've got pretty great odds here. I won't say this is a lock by any stretch. Anytime you're rolling dice, you're never going to say anything's absolutely a lock. But this is +2 for the Allies, -3 for the Axis. That looks a little strange because when you're for the tiebreak, China's income counts towards the Axis, but not towards the Allies. So everything that Japan has that's plus is just a plus to them. But if they stay in Chinese hands, they don't get counted towards the Allies. It's a little complicated, but suffice it to say that's what that would mean. So just on the UK's turn, that's +7 for the Allies, -8 for the Axis. Now, there's nothing that's going to stop the Italians on their turn from taking French West Africa, Union of South Africa, and at least Kazakh. But you can stop them from doing the blitz to Novosibirsk. The bomber, if you can believe it, can come and land in Kazakh, which stops that tank from blitzing through and taking Novosibirsk. So that also saves another 2 IPCs that the Italians don't get to take when they don't take Novosibirsk. So that certainly helps. So now it's +7 to the Allies, -10 to the Axis. So that's a big swing. Now, when you get over to the US's turn, they have to take Manila. Got to take it because they are down a victory city. They've got to get back to at least tied. But it is worth mentioning here that had Stalingrad not fallen, the move here would actually have been to take East Indies and Borneo for a 16-point swing. Which, by the way, if you're curious how this works, East Indies and Borneo is worth almost the entirety of Africa. So, and you can pick them up pretty decidedly if you stay focused on it as the Allies. So that can be a big one. But so, and how they could have won this particular game.
I think it's worth noting here on when I did my actual move and split everything up here, like I have those 2 transports and that's it, but I have those 6 fighters. So really both of these battles, I mean, I don't know the exact odds on them, but they're a lock. Like, I take in my 2 ground units, I take in my 3 fighters, I have bombards, like, I didn't even need 3. I could take whatever 4 or 5 fighters into the Philippines and 1 down south to to Borneo because I think there was only one guy on there at this point in the game. So it's pretty low hanging fruit, really. Like it's pretty easy for me to get in there and be successful.
Yeah. Yep. So absolutely. So I think Manila, Borneo. So when you put those things together, that's another +4, -4 for the axis. So the other thing that the Americans can do, those transports, instead of just crashing into the Atlantic wall, they sneak down and snipe Northwest Europe and Archangel. Archangel, of course, goes back to the Russians, but the Americans take control of Northwest Europe. That's another 8-point swing. So there's just a lot of different particular paths here that could have gotten there. But the key here was was really about being able to make the mental shift from I'm going to win this on victory cities to I'm going
Yeah.
to win this with economics, right? I mean, that's really what it comes down to, and I think that is that's not an easy shift to make on the fly in the middle of a game. So I
Because
don't again I don't expect anybody to have seen this in real time,
I
but
only needed 9 points, right? Because I think eight, if I remember the math correctly, eight would have made the game a tie from where the final numbers were, because it was like 86 to 104. So 8 points would make it 94 to 94. So I only needed 9 points to win it, and just Finland, Norway, Northwestern Europe, and Archangel right there is 9 points. Like I didn't even have to fight. I mean, I have to get the Philippines at that point, but I just have to land in territories that are unoccupied, really.
yeah, John's got a good point here too, which is that oh, I didn't know that. That's how that worked. That's kind of interesting. Um, that the bomber could have also swung down and picked off or at least taken a shot at the Italian tank here.
Yep.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So I mean that would have saved one. The bomber here I think saves two. But the other option would have been to send that. Can that bomber? It can't attack Kazakh. Um, but the other option would have been to attack this force. But that's probably not a great plan because the German fighters are there. But yeah, certainly a lot of fun opportunities here that
Yeah.
I think could have made a big difference in the game. But again, like man, that's really hard to see in real time. So I will say that it makes me want to like the next time I'm playing Anniversary, if if I'm playing in a tournament, it would be to try to keep some kind of running total of what the current count is in terms of IPC production. I think that would be particularly when you get into like you say okay we're it's round four, we think we're going to play five, maybe six, maybe seven, whatever it is that you're at, so that you can start thinking about where you're going to be economically at that point. So I think that there's I think that's I'd have to think about how to do that, but it's
Yeah.
certainly possible.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Like I just got a little frazzled when they got Stalingrad. I thinking I'm running out of time, and I'm like, crap, I have to get two cities now. Well, I know France is probably about a 0% chance, but I might as well just try, and just wasn't thinking about the economic route. Just so dialed in on the cities, when again, it's like, I mean, there's literally four territories I can walk into, and I could have sent everything that America had at the Philippines and even not attacked Borneo or East Indies, and that would have been it. Because those four territories are worth nine. I mean, I really only need three of them because the Philippines itself is worth two. So Finland, Norway, Northwestern Europe, or Archangel plus the Philippines does it. So. Oh no, the
Right.
Philippines. Sorry, I'm not actually doing, because the Philippines was in that final total. So no, I would need the other one, but they're all walk-ins.
Right. Dave, thank you for becoming an official citizen of Board Game Nation. Pleasure to have you. Thank you very much. Um, so this is a really good suggestion. Um, Note some of the IPC at the start, and then keep a running total. If you're 95 plus, you win the ties. So if you get to that point, um, then you that's a good idea. So that's a really good stat to know that 95 plus wins ties. That's pretty cool. Yes. So Charles, don't worry, Carl would have missed it too.
I highly doubt it. Highly
Yeah,
doubt it.
yeah, yeah, we'll see. Um, all right, so that is how that is a path to how Doug could have won this particular game. Um, Again, I think that there's the odds of seeing that table side are really, really low. But maybe now, having with that experience, now we'll be like, okay, so the score is now 10-9. Got to get one. Got to win the economics. So yeah, it's pretty hard.
Yeah, I think you're being very gracious. Like, I mean, if you're down 2 points in a football game, you can win by kicking a field goal or getting a touchdown. Like, I knew what the rules were. I have played in these I have played anniversary tournaments before.
I know.
I saw a path to the cities being tied. I just was really dialed in on it, and I honestly was so. I remember during US's turn, I was mathing out the battles so much. I do remember looking at the economy of the board, and I was just like, I don't think I can get there, and I just kept mathing out the battles. So like the thought went through my head for a second, but it was already the US's turn at that point, and so it probably wouldn't have mattered at that point. So
Yeah, it's certainly tough there. So yeah, so Charles makes another fine point here that the time discrepancy was a lot in this game. Okay, so I did something new in this video that we've not done in previous videos, which is to share the total time used by each side as we go, as the game progresses. And yes, it is accurate to say that the Allies used just under half, I think, of what the Axis used in this game. Now, let me be really clear here that I don't think that there was any intent on the side of the Allies to not, or on the side of the Axis rather, Dave and Keith, to not play at speed. I think that they were moving as fast as they felt like was comfortable for them, and that's fine. And I will say that because Doug was playing mostly solo here, solo players typically play faster than partners because there's no one to talk to about it, right? So you kind of sit there, you think about it, and you do your math, and you scribble it out, and then you make your move. There's no debate with anybody else, so that certainly is a contributing factor. But one of the reasons why we wanted to start accumulating that information is that I think that the data is helpful. Um, if we can start thinking about how much time the average Axis game lasts and how much time the average allied game lasts, then it can give us a better opportunity to make better rules and decisions about how the game is played. I've said in the comments and I've said on the videos many times that I think a clock would really help. I'm in favor of chess clocks being added to the table that count up so that you can know how much time each side used at the end. And and then have some rules that go with that. Perhaps that's the tiebreaker, but that's certainly a possibility. Doug, I'd be curious what your thoughts are on any of it.
yeah, I want to be clear. Like, I don't think these guys were doing anything intentional. We've indicated there was a little confusion around the time
Yes.
there during the game. I already said it in the video. I think as a player, a lot of that responsibility is on me to know how much time is left. Because I remember like around round two, I don't remember exactly. It's like, man, we're moving along fine. Then suddenly we're like, holy cow, we're about to run out of time here, and you know, so that was definitely a factor. Yeah, when you're playing by yourself, you don't have to consult and dialogue and talk as much. So sometimes that can move things along quickly. And maybe I should have taken more time. I mean, I made some mistakes. If I would have thought about things a little bit longer, maybe I would have made less of those mistakes. So, yeah, it is what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
You know,
It's tricky for the Allies, because you know that you need more time, right? You know that you know that you need more rounds, right? So you're hoping to play quicker, right, and be able to get to that sixth round, that seventh round, to be able to do what you need to do to win. I'm a firm believer that in almost every Axis and Allies version of this game, the longer the game goes on, the more likely it is for the Allies to win in general. That's just the nature of how this particular franchise is designed. Can Axis win long games? Absolutely, of course they can. But the nature of the economics versus the material that most of these games start with, it's designed that the Allies will be able to build up economically unless the Axis can overtake them economically earlier in the game. So
yeah, I think that's the key. I think there's truth in that, but it also depends somewhat on Russia holding or not. Like if Germany gets Moscow, then that can flip that on its head really quickly. And if they have all of Europe and a good portion of Asia, unless Japan's capital or most of its economy is in trouble or about to be wiped out. But yeah, I do think the couple extra rounds generally favor the Allies. But I mean, clearly I could have won this game in five. And I don't know if what they had a 67% look at my capital. Like I don't know if we would have won another round if I would have held out in Russia. Round six could have been disaster for Russia potentially. So
that's
I don't
true.
presume that another round would have helped me necessarily. Maybe, but maybe not.
Yeah, what I'm suggesting is a generality.
Yeah, yeah,
But in terms of like um, the the idea that we can count on the longer the game goes, the better the Allies have, the
yeah,
stronger their economic um,
yeah.
chances are. So
Could have
something
used
interesting
those
is happening.
bombers in that fighter from the West Coast. That sure would have been nice.
Yeah, that certainly would have helped for sure. And the bombers that were in the Solomon Islands, moving over to Caroline Islands, or even over
Yeah, yeah.
and being able to attack from India would have
Hmm.
been useful. So there's some really fun things happening over here. Cray has done something magical here. Cray has gifted 5 Board Game Nation memberships to folks in the comments here. Thank you very much. And I'm going to cover my face here for a second.
Cool.
This is fantastic. So Eric from Thailand, thank you for becoming a member. In Zixions, you are now a member. Fantastic. Clayton, welcome to the show. Argle Margle, welcome to the show. Argle, I love that name, by the way. That's awesome. Sean, we got to come over to your side now. Sean has just become a member. That is fantastic. Welcome to that. That is fantastic. And Kurt is absolutely right here. That takes us to 40 members.
Oh,
That
there you go.
is, hey, okay, that is fantastic. Thank you, Craig. That is very, very generous. Sean, thank you for joining. We really, really appreciate that. And we've got tons of very cool things happening. So the way that this will work is I've got a spinny wheel. That is a lot of fun. That's very cool. That we really, really like. But it takes a second to load all of the names into it. So we will give away this rule book. This guy's going out next week. Um, the shiny Larry Harris signature on there. Very nice. So this guy will go out next Friday when we do our live stream following the semifinal match of the 2024 World Championships. So I think that's awesome. Fantastic. Again, Craig, very, very nice of you. Appreciate that. Dave, we are going to give away, like I said, we're going to give away that rule book, but it's going to be next week because I've got to get all of these new members loaded into the spinny wheel to make sure that they also have a chance to win. and you are among them. So let's we will do that. We will do that next week. You do not have to be present to win, because if once you're a member, you'd be able to get into the Discord server, and from there we can contact you directly to get mailing addresses and things of that nature, and let you know that you won. So you do not have to be present to win, but you do have to. It's best if you watch the replay of the live stream, and so that you can make sure that you tell us that you won, because sometimes the names in the Discord server versus YouTube don't match up, so it's sometimes hard to know who's who. So if you come on and tell me that, hey, I'm Dave DeJour, and I won the rule book, please send it to me, and I can verify that those accounts are connected. Anyway, so Robert, did you win, Robert? I seem to remember you needing revenge for not having won our big giveaway in December. Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I guess I'll ask the membership. Do we put the people who have won the earlier prizes? We did a huge giveaway in December, and that went great. We gave away a ton of really very cool stuff, including the production model of North Africa, triple signed by Larry and Matt, which was very cool. So no, Robert, you did not win last time. So you would be you'd have a reasonable shot. So I don't know. We'll talk about it and decide if we're going to put the folks. I'd hate to have people win more than once, so probably not. While other people are still waiting, but that's pretty cool. So yeah, if we can get to our next big threshold, by the way, we talked about this a minute ago. If we can get to 60, is the 1914 signed Larry Harris map, which I think is pretty cool, and I'm really excited about that one. So we may actually do 2 prizes for that one. You know what? I tell you what. Here's what we're gonna do. So this is for 60 because I think this one's very, very cool. But if we can get to 50, then we'll do a global map. We'll do a global map at 50, signed by the Mr. Larry Harris. We'll do a global map at 50. We'll do the 1914 at 60, and we've got some cool stuff. I think it's very cool. So I'm super excited about it, guys. Thank you so much for joining and supporting the channel. This is these videos take a lot of work, as you might imagine, and we really appreciate the support. We can't do this without you. Use the link to when you go to pre-order your new games and join and all that stuff. So very, very cool. So very nice. Doug, more thoughts, questions, things we want to talk about? I hate feeling like it's a sales pitch. It's not a sales pitch. It's just kind of the reality of it.
Yeah, there was a question. I'm not spending too much time looking at the comments, but a guy asked he would like to hear from Doug how this iteration of Anniversary Tournament contrasted to his previous experiences, the strategies, moves, mistakes, successes. I can kind of fill that out a little bit. So I actually won the Gen Con Anniversary Tournament alongside Charles, who's been here in the comments and was my partner in this one for the first game, and then parts of this game as we've already talked about. So in that, I feel like it was similar, if I remember correctly. Charles and I had teamed up. I think he was playing in global, so I feel like there was maybe one game where he was absent, but then we played on through. And I was still very much learning Anniversary then. I think it was really the first time I'd seriously played the game. And, I just want to give credit where credit is due. I feel like in the final of that tournament, he literally put me on his shoulders and carried me across the finish line on the back. So we won it, but I felt like I was just like, oh my gosh, what's going on here, And then I've played in a few other Anniversary tournaments with my son, I think when he was 10 and then 11 years old at the Spring Gathering. So, I love my son to death. He needs some help and I need some to continue to get better at this version of the game. So I really try to like let him make real decisions and not just play the game for him. So we haven't done very well, frankly. I think we won one game out of 2 or 3 tournaments or something together. We usually get shellacked. So this was both exciting and a learning experience. Other than those tournaments, though, I just haven't played Anniversary much. I don't, I know a few people around here who do 42 second, but not as much Anniversary. So I'm trying to get better connected with them and get some reps in on it. And Charles and I did a little bit of practice on AAA ahead of the tournament. So all that to say, it was very different coming into it because I didn't know the game as well. I didn't really have like a clear, solid strategy set for it as well. And I do think that, I wouldn't say that I usually get like nervous playing in the tournaments, but I was definitely nervous. I knew I was playing really good players. Again, I know the guy Keith, we've played a few times together. He's won some, I've won some. I'd never played Dave Jensen before. So I was a little bit nervous in it. And so it was a lot of fun learning experience, but I really like it. It's grown on me a ton. And I think it's going to be hard to go back to 42 second, a lot because I think there's just a lot more depth to this game and it's really good. Well designed, very balanced. I like it a lot.
Yeah, no, I agree. The anniversary edition is very cool. There's no doubt about that. Um, I think that it's similar enough that a lot of the basic strategies still hold true for the most part, but the map has some particular idiosyncrasies. Like the Pacific is a little bigger, and the Atlantic is shorter, right? So you can go from the East Coast of the United States to London in one with a transport, right? The transports that start in DC can move units to London on the first turn, which is twice as fast as in 42. So there's a lot of those kind of little picadillos that are different, but I think it's very cool. Somebody asked Abe here. Is there a good resource to get extra chips and unit pieces, particularly for 1914? Yeah, I would say combatminiatures.org is probably going to have something like this. And if you go there and use the promo code BGN, you actually get 10% off anything you buy at combatminiatures.org. So if you use promo code BGN there, you'll get 10% off your entire purchase. So that's just fun to know.
I like the green chip in 42 second edition. Some people don't love that. The 3 chips, so the gray is 1, the green is 3, and the red is 5. I like the green chip. And I like for the anniversary edition, I bought a cylinder of green chips on Amazon for like $7. They look and fit just perfectly with the out of the box for anniversary. So you can get those. They interlock, and I like doing that. And then you're not short chips all the time. Helps a ton.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Um, so when I gotta say, Kurt, you're absolutely right here. But one of the things that makes 42 second, so a little bit of history. A few years ago, a company called Beam came out with 1942 Online. And it's an online version that you can play through Steam. I think it costs $10 or $20 or something like that. And it's a one-time fee, and it's a really pretty good interface. It's a little bit clunky, but it's anytime you're going to try to translate a game that's as complicated as Axis and Allies um, into a digital format, it's always going to be a little bit. There's going to be a learning curve to how to move the pieces around and the transports and all that stuff. But one of the things that did is it gave people the opportunity to play dozens of games very, very quickly. So it dramatically increased the speed that people could learn the game and that strategies could develop for the game. So when we were practicing for the 2023 tournament, we knew we were going to be playing 42 second edition, and we used 42 online as a way to kind of practice that and to think about different strategies. And it's kind of one of the ways that we honed the Thorpe thump and found ways to beat it, right? And which is something that we've that has been done for sure. So anyway, so that's the thing that we used for it. There isn't really a good way to play Anniversary online, and so it's harder to find the opportunity to get in as many reps. And this was what the reason I come up with that is that Kurt pointed out here that Doug, I played Anniversary this week with a friend in Alaska over FaceTime. It's a great way to play. Obviously, we both had to have a setup. So, yeah, I mean, if you can set it up so that you can play that way, then I think that's a really good method of doing it. So, really, the best way to get better at these games is to get in as many reps as possible, and
Yeah.
and honestly to watch videos like this one, and to be part of conversations and join. Plug for Dave Jensen, by the way. I can't believe I haven't said this yet. Dave Jensen is the creator of something called accessanallies.org. And if you are new to the game and you want 25 years, is how long that website's been out. If you want 25 years of discussion groups and forums and resources for Axis and Allies, make sure that you check that out, accessanallies.org. It's overwhelming. It's just this huge amount of information and essays and all kinds of stuff. So it's definitely worth checking out. But really the best way is to study those things, but nothing takes the place of moving the pieces yourself and rolling the dice and seeing what happens. And then rolling with what happens after that, right?
Yeah.
So it's a matter of dealing with each one of those things. So yeah, that's a good point. All right.
I was surprised when you put the stats on for the final battles for America on the video. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it said like 47% chance at that naval battle. I didn't think it was nearly that high. So I thought that was actually interesting that the chance there is kind of a tangent. The chance there was that high. I do wonder though, I think you said I had a 22% shot at Shanghai, and I don't see how that's possible because they had like, I think I had more attack than they had defense. We both had 4 units. They had like 2 men artillery and a tank, and I had a man artillery and 2 fighters. It seems like, they would have had a 9 defense and I had like a 10 attack.
Yeah, the way that I ran that was they had 2 infantry and artillery and a tank,
Mm-hmm.
and you had an infantry and artillery and 2 fighters.
2 fighters. Is it because I have to keep the infantry? You have to keep the artillery, so I have to lose the fighters. Is that why that percentage was so much lower?
Maybe I'll run it again real quick here. 2 infantry and artillery and a tank. Yeah, maybe I had it wrong. Maybe there were 3 infantry there. Yeah, I think I put it in as I must have put it in as 3 infantry because that comes out
Mm,
to about 23%.
okay.
I'd have to go back and look at it specifically and see what was actually there. But I know that they did move in guys on their last turn and they made it. I can't remember if there were 2 or 3 guys there. If there were 2 guys there, and then it's 50-50 to be
Yeah.
able to take. But
Yeah.
if there was actually 3 guys there, then you're right. It should have been
It was.
22,
Yeah.
23, yeah, percent, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
don't
that's a good
remember
call.
exactly.
Yes. Oh, I'm afraid I'm going to get this wrong. There is a channel out there. I want to say it's John Roberts. That they do a thing on Friday nights where they play 42 online. They use mics and everything else, so you can basically hear them play, and you can also like hear the dog in the background and this kind of stuff. It's pretty casual stuff, but yeah. So there are other YouTube. We're not the only Accidentalized YouTube channel by any stretch of the imagination. So there's certainly others out there, and John Roberts is one. Mannix is another one. There's a couple of other good ones out there too. So yeah. So I, th- you got anything else to share?
No, not that
We've
I
been on
can
for a little
think of.
while. Well, guys, this has been a lot of fun. super excited about everything that Renegade put out this week. Holy cow! Big news. Stalingrad, I think, is going to be a big hit. I think there's been a lot of people excited about that game. I know I'm excited about it. I think it should be fun, and looking forward to getting that out to everybody. Battle for the Deep seems like it's going to be fun. It'll be good to see Battle of the Bulge back in action and out and about in the world. We are thrilled that we've crossed the 40-member threshold. Thank you very much, Cray T, for the super chats and for the gifts, gift memberships to all the other folks. Love to have those folks on. Yep, that's right. It was John Roberts Gaming. Thank you, Paul. And I need to find a collaboration with him. We should figure out a way to play together or something. That should be fun. So
Yeah, we talked a little bit about the online version and some of its differences in last year's videos, but just to recap that for a minute, it's fun. There's some things I like about it, but I think one of the biggest differences is the whole like unit order loss. You have to like program that, and you can't make those decisions on the spot, which bothers me a lot. Because like I just feel like it feels more so with the allies, maybe it's just based around the strategy that we use, but just the way you lose your fighters, your carriers, in the Pacific and stuff like that, like it's just tough to program that and not be able to make the decision in the moment in my mind. So it is a little bit of a different game. And then just the idea that you can, the game basically tells you where your fighters and bombers can and can't go, as opposed to you having to be able to figure that out on your own and know and move things in the right position and stuff. So there's a couple of differences there.
yep, for sure. Oh, and we got another new member. Rob, thank you for becoming a member. We're getting close to that 50 pretty fast. We'll get there pretty fast. Mitch, thanks for dropping by, and we're glad that you tolerate us and that you enjoy the content. John has just dropped the link in the chat. So if you are going to be pre-ordering, please make sure that you use that to do it. And man, there's been a lot happening here. I think, man, what have we been on? Almost an hour and 40 minutes. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
we'll leave it there. It's been a great time. Thank you so much for all of the support and all the great comments and for watching the video. I think the snow has helped us. Like I said, it's Axis and Allies weather out there. So
That's right.
um, we'll probably be playing some this weekend. I will be working on the semifinal videos. We've got two more. We've got two semifinal videos and then the final to get out. Our goal is to get them out once a week and then have the live stream every Friday for the rest of the month. So make sure that you put us on your calendar for that. Should be a good time. So members get early access to the video, and we try to give that as early as possible. This is a tight production schedule for this particular thing, so be patient with us. But we've got loads of, even after the World Championship, we've got a ton of really fun events coming up. Doug and I are going to play against the world. Yes. We're going to play tournament rules, and we'll have members that will put in orders, and they'll vote to determine which direction they're going to go, and we will argue about the best way to respond, and then we will make our moves, and we'll roll on camera, and it'll be a lot of fun. So stick around for that. And again, the diplomacy coverage in February, the global final, we'll have that for you in February as well. So lots of really great content coming up, and we should be having some news about some tournaments. If you stuck around this long, you get a sneak peek that we may have some tournament news in the not so distant future. So awesome. So thank you all for Doug. Thank you for being here and sticking with us.
It was good as always. I'm looking forward to talking about the games of the guys who got further in the tournament than me. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Yes. We'll be commenting from the cheap seats this year.
Yeah.
Which is fine. There's a bunch of great games coming up, and we can't wait to share them with you. Thank you to John and to Jamie for being in the comments and helping us out with the moderation and dropping the links in. Again, make sure that you use our affiliate link when you're going to buy all the great new games from Renegade and the accessories, that 1914 premium map, the hit dice. And if you get over to combatminiatures.org, make sure to use promo code BGN. We don't get a kickback from that one. That was just a 10% discount for you. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah. Have a nice day, whatever it is that you celebrate. Well, awesome. Oh, Charles, now this is how you're gonna leave us. This is how you're gonna leave us. Dude Doug's Lost the World now is minus 150. Charles, we're gonna have a chat about this. We're gonna have to have a chat about this. All right. Well, friends, thank you very much for watching. We will see you next time. Doug, thanks again for being here.
Thanks a lot, man. It's good to have. Good. Thanks for having me.
Yes. And of course we can't go home without the glockenspiel. It's a random sound effect that I really like, the glockenspiel. I should have done the glockenspiel for all of our new members. So yes, we'll get one more. That's for Cray T for all of his great gifts there. So thank you very much. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the semifinal video that'll come out next week, and then, of course, for next Friday's live stream. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.